History is a powerful storyteller, impacting all of us deeply and honestly. The past provides rich material for inspiring dramas, some of which are brought back to life through the skillful lens of cinema. One such filmmaker is Christopher Nolan, and his 12th film is a grand and dramatic tale about justice from history, beautifully captured in what might be his best screenplay yet. In the 3-hour-long movie, historical figures come to life as characters in the present, engaging in eloquent conversations about various topics, ranging from quantum theory to American politics. The movie boasts an exceptional cast from Hollywood, delivering these lines with brilliance. Let's explore some of the best quotes from Oppenheimer. "Now I am become death, destroyer of worlds." Taken from the Hindu sacred text the Bhagavad Gita, this infamous quote has been closely connected to the real-life Oppenheimer. Originally, he stated these words 20 years after the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings on an NBC News documentary entitled, "The Decision to Drop the Bomb." In the film, it is uttered twice, once in a sex scene with Jean Tatlock and again later, in the breathless wake of the Trinity test. The quote closes Oppenheimer's journey, showing the transition from his idyllic intellectual desires to his confrontation with the lived truth behind the words. Power stays in the shadows. Lewis Strauss is portrayed as an iconic villain in The League of Nurse Ratched from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and Noah Cross from Chinatown. Robert Downey Jr.'s performance as Strauss is convincing, depicting him as a believable opportunist, a type of politician that remains all too common in today's world. The quote serves as Strauss' central idea, which is appropriate considering the stark visual contrast in his scenes, presented in black and white. The line reflects his cold and calculated objectives, leading to his downfall when he tries to escape accountability for his manipulative actions against Oppenheimer. They won't fear it until they understand it. And they won't understand it until they've used it. When Oppenheimer speaks to his scientific staff about whether the atomic bomb is necessary after Hitler's death, he expresses these words with a sense of desperation. He sees the bomb as a necessary evil that the world must bear, but also hopes it will eventually be controlled and locked away. Oppenheimer's naivety becomes evident as he believes that this one action can prevent nuclear war from ever happening. The quote provides insight into how the original inventors justified the atomic bomb, and shows what it was like when the true power of this weapon was still uncertain and unknown. Hiroshima isn't about you. After the bombings in Japan, Oppenheimer is labeled the father of the atomic bomb, and he visits President Truman to express his concerns. When Oppenheimer tells Truman that he has blood on his hands, Truman responds callously and coldly with another distressing quote, saying, "Don't let the crybaby back in here." What makes this exchange so troubling is that nobody, not even the president, seems to grasp the immense burden Oppenheimer had to bear. Truman disgustingly lacks respect for Oppenheimer's evident struggles and tries to diminish the weight of his trauma. It highlights the lack of understanding and empathy for Oppenheimer's inner turmoil, in the aftermath of creating such a destructive weapon. Why won't you fight? Emily Blunt's portrayal of Kitty Oppenheimer is the emotional core of the film. She plays a woman who cannot bear to be a passive bystander as historical events unfold around her. Throughout the movie, she repeatedly challenges her husband, Oppenheimer, to take control of his own narrative and write his own version of history. The significance of this quote becomes evident in understanding Oppenheimer's character, especially his moral struggles after witnessing the Trinity test. He is depicted as a broken man, as seen in the chilling gymnasium speech, and the quote highlights the essence of his inner conflict. Finding the courage to object to the course of history as it unfolds is central to the meaning of this quote. It reflects Oppenheimer's quest for reclaiming his agency and shaping his own destiny in the face of overwhelming events. Is anyone ever going to tell the truth? As William Borden reads the unfair and inflammatory attack letter, as directed by the Gray Board and Roger Robb, Oppenheimer quietly says this line to his attorney. The moment is striking for Oppenheimer as he realizes during his private trial, which led to the revocation of his security clearance, that the authorities are indifferent to the truth. This recognition exposes his own naivety and shakes him with the harsh realities of the new world he now faces. It showcases the profound impact of the situation on Oppenheimer, making him aware of the dangers he confronts in this changing landscape. Zero would be nice. As Oppenheimer tries to reassure General Groves with an near zero, chance of the atmosphere igniting and destroying the planet during the Trinity test, Groves responds with a clever retort. The film, while offering a dark perspective on the human soul, also includes moments of levity, often through the character of Groves. However, this particular line emphasizes the uncertainties surrounding the Trinity test and intensifies the tension at a crucial moment. It highlights the high stakes and unknown consequences of the test, adding to the dramatic atmosphere of the scene. We're not convicting, just denying. During a deceptive meeting with William Borden to plan their attack letter against Oppenheimer, Lewis Strauss speaks this quote, revealing his personal justification for undermining Oppenheimer's reputation. The line encapsulates Strauss' professional ambitions, and he repeats it later when he realizes that his chances of becoming Commerce Secretary are slim, especially after Dr. David Hill's congressional appearance. Similar to "I am become death," which symbolizes Oppenheimer's transformation, this quote serves as a bookend for Strauss, representing his character's development throughout the story. You don't get to commit sin, and then ask all of us to feel sorry for you when there are consequences. Following the distressing news of Jean Tatlock's suspected suicide, Oppenheimer is consumed by pain and heartbreak. At this moment, Kitty reaches out to him, shaking him out of his stupor with this impactful quote. In this rare moment, she drops her usual restraint and shares her authentic self with him. Nolan fearlessly portrays the horrors of this story with the ambiguity it warrants. He doesn't spare Oppenheimer from his suffering, allowing the character to face the consequences of his actions. Kitty's dignity shines through in this line, defying conventional husband-wife dynamics that many filmmakers might opt for. This approach adds depth and complexity to their relationship, making it more genuine and compelling on screen. I believe we did. In the poignant conclusion of Christopher Nolan's screenplay, Oppenheimer confesses to Albert Einstein that he believes his actions have changed the world for the worse. He recognizes that his discovery led humanity down a dark and irreversible path. The entire film builds up to this pivotal moment, where Oppenheimer confronts the perilous consequences of his creation. As he gazes at the ripples in the rain, he starts to comprehend the harsh reality that awaits him, both in his lifetime and in the annals of history. The quote is a stunning representation of Oppenheimer's core beliefs, delivered with a profound sense of power, poise, and prestige. It encapsulates the weight of the decisions he made and the impact they had on the world.